to Noise Avocation Podcast. I'm Ryan here with Jeremy as always, and we have Chris and Anthony from Overthrow and also What Lies Ahead podcast. Chris, thank you guys for jumping on the show. We appreciate it.
Yeah, great to be here, man.
So how you guys doing out there in Long Island?
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Jersey actually. So like
Yeah.
I'm the black sheep of the group that lives over like two bridges in Jersey. So
Oh, right on.
You're
yeah.
the ugly stepsister then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Long Island. Yeah. Long Island's great. It is. You know, I've lived here my whole life. I live in Glen Cove now. Grew up in Plainview. That's where Anthony and I actually grew up, and we actually grew up at the high school together, and then started the band together there and stuff. So yeah. So it's cool that that we're still doing this after all these after all these
Yeah.
years coming back and running it back in our mid 40s, which is fun.
I can definitely just from like first listen, I can definitely tell you like your sound is Long Island. You know what I'm saying? Definitely have that sound for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. You can hear a
Yeah.
lot of influences in there. Like it's like that I think that last album is kind of like it's like a sponge of what was going on like in that mid to late 90s. Like, I hear a lot of stuff in there like Sick of It All, see a little bit of Snapcase, District 9, stuff like that. So it's absolutely, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. That was
Yeah.
like we don't
You know,
ask a
you
lot of
know,
questions, but I have like my notes are all like it sounds like this, and this. I'm sorry, dude. Go ahead.
yeah, no, all good, man. So like it's interesting too with Long Island. There's such a diverse sound and diverse bands now, and even back. Let's talk mid to late '90s when we were on the island. Like you had VOD who were everywhere, right?
Yep.
Blowing up everywhere, influencing everybody. Um, and they had this new style that was unique and metal style, but hardcore. And then you had bands like Tension from Long Island who were like straight up hardcore, sheer terror, Outrage that were straight up hardcore. And then bands like Silent Majority and Glassjaw and Cleanser. So there was like all these different sounds of music and but all like one strong scene. So it
Yeah,
was
dude.
cool to be in that scene and play with those bands and be involved with those bands at that time. And that's what was cool. And I think you could pick up on, maybe we don't sound like some of those bands, but like you could pick up on some of the little things of or nuances of some of those bands that kind of incorporate into when React came
Oh,
out for us in
I
1999.
definitely heard VOD in there. You know what I mean? Like like not
Hmm.
not bites, but like nods. You know what I mean? Like I said when I was like, it sounds like Long Island. Like it,
Yeah.
the latter half of the album definitely had the that VOD sound to it, in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's
Yeah,
fucking
it's
sick.
it's it's kind it's kind of funny because, after Overthrow broke up, I really didn't do anything musically, like I moved around. I was just kind of lived in Florida, lived in Connecticut, and I just kind of bounced around. So, during that time, I was listening to a little bit of new stuff, but I kind of stayed buried in a lot of that old, like 90s, you know, 94 to like 2002, 2003. And so I just listened, and I just kind of kept on. So it's kind of funny for me. It's almost like I was in like a fucking time capsule because, I
You're
would
like,
listen to new
here I
stuff,
am.
and there's a lot of really cool stuff that came out. But writing wise, I didn't write really again until like 2019. So there was a gap of like 18 years where I didn't write hardcore music, because if I didn't have a band and I wasn't performing, I was kind of like, it kind of was just like unplugged for me. So coming back to it, I think part of the reason why, a lot of, you'll hear a lot of those influences, from especially Long Island from that era is like, that's what I know how to write. I mean, that's kind of like really, what's kind of really cool about it is it just creates such a direct line from React. It sounds like React, but it's just a lot more layered, and personally I think it fucking blows the doors off React. But you could really kind of see it. I still write in the same breakdown, like just that style of breakdown. I live and breathe in. So it's kind of, you could see it in this album just like you could in React.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
everybody's kind of like trying to chase a similar sound too. You know what I mean right now, which is kind of funny because you're just naturally doing what you fucking know how to do.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah.
So it was what 26 years between albums for you guys, something like that. 99 was React, 2025 is the new one. Why the hiatus and why choosing to come back now?
Yeah.
It's funny, Chris. I think you're
Yeah.
frozen.
Am I frozen?
No, you're good now.
Gotta move
You're
out.
good.
You were
I'm good. I'm good. So
you were slightly delayed.
I'm good.
I
Am I
want.
okay
How
now
did
or
you
no?
get to that reunion
Good.
show too? Like, you know.
Yeah. So the delay, I guess, it was just we stopped playing in 2001. We just and it was nothing bad. No one was there's no arguments, fighting. We just at that point in time we were moving on to the second point of our life, our careers and all that kind of stuff. Still loved hardcore, still into it. We did play some reunion shows from 2000. I would say three onto 2022. We played about four or five, even some really good ones. Like we played the Blue Bowl in New York City in 2013 when Judge came back. We played with Judge and Madball and Indecision and Kill Your Idols, and it was just an incredible show. But the show that really, really, really made us want to come back and write again was in 2022. We played with Shutdown and Strife at Amityville Music Hall. And we've always talked about writing new material, but you've had bands on here, but to write new material, you got to put the work in, like you do. It's not just you just throw it together, you write it. Like you got to put time in, you have to rehearse. It's all that stuff. So we wrote Anywhere But Here, which was the first single off the new album that we put out. But we played it for the show, and it just energized us. And that show was great. We had people up front singing along for all the React stuff, and people were into Anywhere But Here. So from there, it was like, let's do it, and we wrote 8 new songs. We re-recorded React for the new album, and we'll get into that reason why. But it just the material kept flowing, like it really, really did. So we were able to write fast, but what took so long it was just the recording process. And honestly, we're in our mid-40s now, so we have careers, our kids, we have all these things going on. Anthony is in Jersey. We had there were some things career-wise we had to wait for some of our band members. So in order for us to get it together and then get in the recording studio and finish everything, it took a little time.
Hey,
so
man, it's an everyday fight,
Yeah, it was. But you know what? It came out. It's setting the price. The new album came out a few weeks ago, which is October 3rd, and it came out this time for a reason. And I've said that, I've said that a couple of times before on some other interviews and stuff like that. Like, you know what? Maybe if it came out a year ago, maybe it wasn't supposed to. For whatever that reason is why it came out October 3rd, I don't have a reason why, but it came out October. It came out, and you know what? A lot of cool opportunities came from it. We played with Madball at Gramercy Theater and Bayway. Got the Bayway flag. That's why it's coming to fresh in my mind now. We played with them at Gramercy Theater a couple of weeks before the album came out, and we have our record release coming up with Shia Lude in December on Long Island, and then we have some really cool stuff planned in March and in April, and then into the summer and into some other stuff. So, and by the way, what's crazy now that's different than the 90s is how friggin' far in advance everything is booked now. It's like, we're looking at like festivals and we're looking at this kind of stuff, and it's like, this stuff's like a year or two out, where I'm not saying back then you didn't have to plan ahead, but it wasn't like this far ahead. So it's like we have a lot planned for 2026 and hopefully more, but it just takes a long while to just takes it's just far in advance to do that.
And there's so many great shows in all genres of music right now. Like as we're talking, we're in northern Michigan in Alpena, so it's like 4 hours north of Detroit, and Biohazard's playing tonight. Like they're maybe like pretty quick. Which is crazy though. Like they just put out an album too. You know what I mean? Like,
isn't it Biohazard, Onyx, Bayway, Hate Inc.
Yeah,
Bayway's on that one, right? Yeah.
I think it's dope that Onyx is on there.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just wild.
That's a great show. That's a sick show. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, I
love the
cool.
show flyer for it. How they have each band inside the Biohazard circle.
Yeah.
And then like Hate Inc. got added for that show, and they slapped him in the middle. I think from what I've seen.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was a cool flyer though. I liked it. But yeah, to see Onyx on there, like the Onyx Bayway connection kind of makes sense, and the Biohazard thing does too, because like I mean, Biohazard blew up. Like, remember when Nas wore a Biohazard shirt? Like,
yeah.
and that caught like a whole, not flack, but it caught a whole bunch of
Yeah.
popularity and shit. So the connection's there. It makes
Well,
sense.
then they're sick
like,
of it all Mob Deep, you know, like
Yep.
it's shit kind of all it's weaved in together. It's funny like that, you know.
Yeah.
That's New York, man.
But there's
And New
Yeah.
Jersey.
yeah,
It is.
so many fests.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now you guys, the new album came out digitally, on the 3rd. Are there physical copies, coming out? How's that all working? Who's putting them out? Blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
So great. I'm glad you asked that because that's a great question because we definitely want physical copies. So we did talk to some labels. We did. But like I said, it took so long with our recording and getting it out. We were like, let's just put it out digitally October 3rd so people could stream, they could listen, and then we'll figure out the physical copies later. But our goal is absolutely to put out vinyl and to put out probably a CD too, which people like 7 CDs, but definitely putting out vinyl. And John Contino, because I'm looking at the Overthrow React vinyl that you have on your desk there.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Contino already created. We have everything all created for what a vinyl would look like for setting the price. And it looks amazing. He also, so the Overthrow React vinyl that we put out last year for the 25th of React, John Contino reimagined that. So people who don't know who John Contino is, he's done Incendiary's cover. He created the little coffin logo that they're well known for. He's just a well-renowned designer. He's amazing. And he was just like, guys, I'm going to reimagine React. He's like, let me run with it. And he did, and he killed it. Like he did a great layout. Same thing with setting the price cover. We had an idea. Anthony had these ideas of things that we wanted to do and what we want in the cover. And he took it, he put the money sign on it, and he had all these things. And he did the same thing with what the layout will look like. And it's going to look amazing. So we're talking to some labels now, but definitely something in 2026. That's definitely something that we want to do is put that out on vinyl and or CDs or both physical copies.
Right.
So like I said, still talking to some labels and stuff like that. And we'll see how that goes about. So hopefully next year we can do that.
Yeah, we're always curious about that physical stuff, obviously, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Collectors and selling and nerding out.
Yeah, people love it,
Yeah,
and I
dude.
see why. People like it. It's like even when we go play live, like when we play, we're going to be playing we're playing with Shia Lou and This Is Hell at AMH. It's our record release, but we're going to have shirts and hats to sell and
Right.
merchandise. We're not going to, and we'll have the React vinyl, but we won't have the setting. We definitely won't have the setting the price vinyl, but we will in 2026. We're just
Yeah.
trying to just find what's right and what fits, and then we'll get it out.
That's what's
Yeah.
up.
Super blessed too. Like, by the way, like that guy
Mhm.
John Contino, like he designed like the New York Giants, like that was that 100 year that anniversary jersey. Then he
Yeah.
did
Oh yeah. Yeah.
he like designed like to the fact that he took the time like to do, to even work with us, super humbling. That guy is, it's I mean, how many graphic designers reach that kind of level, where they're, his name really
Yeah, doing
precedes
NFL
them.
shit. That's crazy huge.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. And he back in the day, he was right.
Yeah.
He was in our area, and he really liked us. So, we just had a really cool connection with him, and we were super blessed, man, to have that guy even, give us that at the time of day. I mean, he did such a good job. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more. Like, he created an album cover for Setting the Price that just kind of has like that iconic feel, and that's kind of what I'd expect, man, from that guy. I mean, he just everything he touches is pretty incredible.
What I was really surprised and liked about this
Mhm.
design was how you have that clear like slide on it. So the
Yeah.
gatefold slides in it. You pull out the gatefold, then the picture's not
Yeah.
obstructed at
The
all.
gatefold. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can actually
Yeah.
see the whole picture, but then everything
Mhm.
else, title, track listing on the back. And
Yeah.
I only have one other album that has a slip like that. You know what I mean? Or two, I think
Yeah.
we figured out. So that's pretty cool. I like that. It's unique.
Yeah. Yeah. We
Well,
had
thank you.
plans.
Yeah, he and that I'll credit him. So like when we go ahead.
Oh, no, no, no. I was gonna say we had plans to put like an
You
old
went
school
crazy.
zine in there. Is that still happening? Or remember there was like Positive Reaction. There was like an old zine that like one of our friends did, and we still had like the old one from like the 90s. So we were gonna like we were gonna actually
Possibly.
push it, put it in there. So that's still
Oh,
like in
that'd
the
be
work, right?
sick.
So like if we do
Yeah.
that, we'll send it to you. But it's kind of cool because it's just like
Yeah.
like a look back into like exactly what was going on at that time when that zine was done, you know?
Oh, that's fucking
Yeah.
dope, man. Yeah, I'd love to see that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do have it. It's on our Instagram page. It's not the same thing as having a physical copy, but if you go on our Instagram page at Overthrow LIHC, it's one of the posts. I posted in like, I actually remember in June of this year of
Oh shit, I'll
2025,
have to go
and you
back.
could scroll through and it just has old flyers and old photos and all this
Yeah,
old shit.
I'm a
It's
sucker
cool.
for
It's like a
that
time
shit.
capsule of the 90s, you know?
Yeah.
June. Yeah, I'll check that out definitely.
So that's what you guys have going on present day. Let's go back to like early days of when you guys first formed and what that was like for you, like what brought all that on, and what the 90s were like kind of compared to now.
We started in the 90s. We were in end of 11th grade. It's like blurry, end of 11th grade, early 12th grade. And Overthrow started, it was Dimitri, a drummer, Anthony, and actually our friend Mike Lupia, who we still talk to this day, where the singer was this, and there was like a three-piece. There was no bassist or anything. And we were going to hardcore shows. We were enjoying it. Long Island was blowing up at that point in time. There were just shows all over the place. Some of the bands I mentioned. So we were constantly going to shows. And then Mike just stopped doing it for whatever reason. And then I jumped in, and obviously no vocal training. I was screaming, like that's really what it was. And our first show was, and I have to say this because it was just such a ridiculous show. Like I would love to play the show now, but our first show was in February of 1996, our first real show. So we used to play like, they used to allow us, by the way, in our high school, because like I said, Anthony and I went to the same high
Yeah,
school
yeah.
and so did our old drummer. They used to let us play at the end of the day in the cafeteria, and we would
Oh
play
wow.
and we would cover Friend or Foe. We would cover Suffer from VOD. We would play originals. We would improvise. It was ridiculous, but people would
That's
like
sick they let
dance
you
and
do
mosh
that, dude.
hard,
Damn.
hard, like
Like
hard in the cafeteria. And
that's fucking
like the principal,
awesome.
they were all watching it and they had no problem with it. Like I'm in education now. That would never happen right now.
Yeah,
Like you just
right?
couldn't do that. But our first show, our first show though was at the Roxy Music Hall on Long Island. This place is now gone, but it was Napalm Death, Sheer Terror, Tension, Home 33, us, and two openers.
Holy
And
fuck.
like I would love to play that now,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
that'd be an
yeah.
incredible show to play now. And we were 17 years old. We just put out a demo, our first demo that we completely rushed, and we sold like at least 100 of them that night, and
Fuck yeah.
we went on, and I remember the place just blew up, and we're like, holy shit, like it was insane. Like it really was. So Dimitri ended up moving on to college. Rich joined the band, who was our drummer, and he recorded everything with us, recorded React with us, and we kept playing, and we kept them going out of state and meeting people, and connecting with Jay Reason from Connecticut, and doing the split on Jamie's label, Stillborn, in '98, and then doing a split 7-inch with One for One. Ironically, by the way, we did a split with One for One on what was called Distance Records back then. And the two guys doing Distance Records, one was Alex Dunn, who was in Crime and Stereo, and then
All
the
right.
other is Mike Musili, who ended up being in Crime and Stereo, but now he's our bassist. He's playing bass with us now. So it's kind of cool full circle that I guess the point I'm going is a lot of these people that I'm talking about now, still friendships, still talking to today. And it's kind of cool. But the 90s back then in Long Island, in the city, was awesome. There was always so much going on. That's at the time in the city when you had CB's Wetlands and Coney Island High at one point going on all at the same time. So we were fortunate enough to play all those three places numerous times, which was amazing. But also for me and Anthony, we would be going there all the time if we weren't playing, and going to shows every weekend.
Right, right.
And it was just awesome. And then Long Island had a lot going on too. So it was just so much going on, and so many shows, and it was just super fun. It was just a super fun time. And actually, in that zine that Anthony's talking about, we try to capture that moment, that time, as best as we can.
That's
Yeah,
what's
it
up.
was incredible, man. Like, I mean, think about it. If you were in Long Island within, within New York, within what, like an hour, you had Vision and Disorder, Indecision, Shutdown, District 9. You had like You had Madball. Then you had like H2O's self-entitled album when that first came out. Then you had bands like in New York, right? Snapcase, Earth Crisis, Upstate. I mean, the originality was fucking intense. Like, and that's it was just so much fun. Like, I'm always, and I still am, like a breakdown junkie. So like, if you write a
Yeah.
good breakdown, I'm fucking all on it. I just remember putting stuff on vinyl and just listening to the breakdown over and over. I'm like, oh, it's fucking awesome. It was just a really good time. And none of those bands sounded alike. Then you had like No Redeeming, and you had, Murphy's Law still out. It was just a really incredible time for originality. It almost felt like no two bands sounded alike. And and back then, I think what was a little bit different is I feel like you had a little more punk influence, I think, in hardcore than you do today. It's kind of migrated more to a little bit more to metal, I think,
Oh,
more predominantly than it
100%.
was. And but I always loved, the punk part of it was really what got me into it because it's so fucking easy, man. You pick up a guitar, you learn one fucking hand configuration, a power chord, and you could start a punk band tomorrow. And I think that's why I always said it, and I've said it before, like punk is an important part of hardcore because like there's really no barrier to entry, right? Like you don't need to, in a metal band, you got to be a little more skilled. If you're playing like really kind of deep metal, you got to know scales, you got to know that. Punk really was it's a really like a DIY type
Sorry,
just type
guys.
of music and so that's what drew me in and in the beginning, Chris mentioned Dimitri was our original drummer and so like when we first kind of started that band with Dimitri, like Chris and I mean we were like really into metal, right? Like we were listening to like Sepultura, like obviously Pantera was huge back then. And Dimitri is really a guy that introduced me to a lot of like kind of like anarcho punk, like Crass and Os Rotten, and there was an Oi Polloi 7-inch back then, which still is incredible. I still listen to it, and so that was like kind of like the beginnings of the DNA. So you could still hear it like in Setting the Price, right? Like we kind of veer off pretty. We're like all over the place in terms of style, but it really works well, and so we'll hit like a straight up kind of metal sounding hardcore song. Then we'll have like a militant punk one. We can get melodic, but like it all started there because like it was like kind of like that meshing of like punk and metal from the beginning, and the two just go together so well because you can really just hit a sick punk high tempo and then boom hit into like a sludgy chugging like breakdown, and a lot of our songs were like that. They just kind of bounce back and forth. But yeah, it was an awesome time. It was a really interesting time. And it's interesting coming back into it now because everything is fucking different, right? Selling physical media versus streaming and kind of figuring out, the whole landscape of that is totally different. It's like a
Dude,
different universe,
even the
but
crowds
Mhm.
are so
it's been
much
fun though,
different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm giving you a tour of my house. I have better connection here.
Oh, it's all good.
But yeah, sorry, guys. One thing he talked to, and it's funny you bring it up, Anthony, because I was thinking about that. Like when we were, like Dimitri, who our original drummer was, like to credit him, like, we got into hardcore and early on into high school, but he was the reason why. And I remember we would just rehearse in his upstairs at his house, but then when we'd go downstairs and we would listen to all the bands Anthony's describing. We would Breakdown would be on, then we'd have Madball on, and then we'd put Shelter on, and then he would have Oi Ploy on, and then VOD would go on, and then we'd listen to Tension from Long Island, and it would be all these different bands. And I think that's what we when we write our songs is we really don't try to have like we like doing different things. We have some for us, like even like a song like Remembrance, it's a little more melodic for us. And then we have a song like Tribute, which is more hardcore punk song. And then Incomplete on the new album is just a lot heavier. It's like more heavier kind of vibe. And I think that comes from all of our different influences, but I also take it back to just sitting in Dimitri's, honestly, his basement and listening to those bands and just all those different influences and stuff that we like. And by the way, we also are super, like we were talking, you guys, we were talking before we got on here. It's like we're also super into metal, like Chaos AD from Sepultura and like I don't even go Pantera and all that kind of stuff.
I
Loved that
definitely
stuff
hear
and still
more
do.
metal influence in the newer one, definitely like in the drums.
Yeah.
But like you said about how you guys go from the different kind of little bit different styles. Like on first listen, I'd always thought like you guys sounded like a harder bouncing Souls almost. Does that make
That's
sense?
cool.
Like with a fucking not like an angry one, just a little harder. You know what I'm saying? But
You're
then it would
talking
be
about
like,
on the new album?
yeah.
Okay.
And then it would be like, and then there'd be like a fucking breakdown. You know what I mean? Like, it made me laugh when you were like, I fucking love breakdowns because that's obvious now because after listening, you know.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how, because there's a lot of melodic in it, but
Mhm.
then and melody, and I don't know, that's kind of what it sounded like to me.
The old one definitely had a more raw, more punky, like 2000s kind of screamy type of feel to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then like
Which
I seen you
reflects
guys
you're younger, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you're more pissed
Time and
off, you
place,
know,
yeah.
like yeah.
And
Yeah.
so Chris, are you unable to scream like that anymore? Because I noticed you definitely didn't do that on the new album like you were.
So I definitely it's funny. I can still it's scream. I don't have the same like rasp that I used to,
Right.
and
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, your voice
yeah,
changes over
sometimes I
time,
have
but
it,
yeah.
sometimes I don't. It's funny, like I don't like there's certain things like that I and I'm not saying that it's like world renowned what I was doing on React, but I'm talking about like holding out a scream and grasp. I don't really I like for some reason physically just I feel like I could do it, but it's not coming out that way,
Yeah.
and anymore,
It's like your
and
muscles
it's
might
gonna
have forgot how to do it.
yeah, so it's like, and like when we rehearse though, I sing throughout the whole thing, like I do that when we rehearse leading up to shows just so I can get my voice ready. But when we go out next year and we're going to be doing weekends and we're doing this and we're doing that, and I'm not going to be doing that at leading up to rehearsal because I just want to preserve my voice and stuff like that. I don't do any, it's funny because on my podcast, I interview bands like Mark from Shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
He was telling me like he does stuff to get his voice ready and do stuff, and I never thought to do that. And on some of the stuff I'm not, maybe I'll look into doing that. So, and because we're probably doing a weekend with we are not probably we are doing a weekend with Shutdown next year, so, or even a little more than that. So
Yeah,
I,
shout out to Mark,
I'm
man, he's awesome.
Yeah.
he's the
Love that
best. Yeah,
guy.
he's the best.
We had him on like last year sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
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 Shutdown saved my life, no doubt.
I saw you said that. Yeah, like I saw when you said that on there. Like, and they were again another band that, that the Shutdown Indecision split 7-inch on Back to Basics
Sick.
Records is like a classic split 7-inch, and both bands, those songs are so good, and that was something we would listen to obviously in Dimitri's like we would just and obviously then you get to know and become friends with both of those bands. Actually, quick thing about Shutdown, like he was supposed to be on Tribute on the new album. He was going to sing the chorus. And because Anthony and I were talking, I'm like, I hear him singing on it,
Makes
and
sense now that
his
you say
voice
that.
sounds great on the new album. And we just couldn't connect getting him here because he's in Florida, Long Island. And there was almost a weekend we just couldn't get it done. And then we were at the point where we're like, we'll get it out. So I said to him, like, you'll sing it live with us
Yeah, I
when
was
we,
just gonna say,
when we
dude,
play
just
with
do
you.
it live, dude. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you guys have any plans of coming into the Midwest area, like Detroitish, Grand
No, I
Rapids?
would love to. Nothing's off the table. And I've actually talked to Sarah about that, hardcore therapist, of like,
Mm,
coming,
mm.
coming. We would love to. We honestly would. And that's the thing. So like right now, we're like it's New York, Jersey, and some other stuff with Shutdown, and then we're going out with God's Eyes in April, where we're going to do upstate New York, and then make our way into Pennsylvania, and then there's even talk about the South, and then like some other things going on. But
Just
look,
see
we
where it
would like to
goes,
make our way out there.
for
Yeah, we
sure.
would. And
Dope. Well, to keep
mhm,
keep an eye out for those sorts of
yeah,
things.
So I wanted to ask about Triple Crown because the original album was put out on Triple Crown. How'd you guys link
yeah.
up there?
So we were yeah. So it's like typical like young stupid kids, like how we signed that contract. So we put like what we thought looked like a nice press kit at the time out to like record labels and stuff, and some like we heard from some. So I get a call. I actually vividly remember this. I'm in the front of my house playing basketball with my brother and my friends, and my mom opens the door. She's like, "Fred Feldman's on the phone, Chris. Who the fuck is that?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we
That's
sent him the
right.
press kit." So I'm talking to Fred Feldman in my kitchen, and the next thing I know, we met with him at a diner
Oh God.
in Plainview. It was the band
Yeah.
and him. And I do remember, right, and like, didn't what happened was, like, when we were eating, some behind us, a baby just threw up all over the table behind us or something like that. So we were like mid conversation with this guy, and we're like cracking up, dying laughing with him. So we connected with them really, really fast, and we played a show with Indecision at Deja One, and he gave us like a contract, and we didn't know contracts. We didn't know that shit back then. Like, we were 19 years old
Rich wasn't even
when
old
we
enough to sign it. Like
yeah, we weren't
Rich
even,
wasn't
yeah,
even
like,
fucking like he was
yeah, and
like
it was
how old
like
is he,
poorly
16?
written, the contract. So we had like what we thought of people who looked at it, and we were like, all right. So we got off stage at Deja One, which was a place on Long Island, and we just kind of all, I'll never forget it. We walked down the steps, we all kind of looked at each other, and we're like, okay, and we signed it, and then we went into the studio a month later and recorded that album in like 3-4 days, which is something like, we're talking about me screaming and all that kind of stuff. I did the vocals in 1 day for that album. I would never do that again.
Right,
You
right,
know, I
right.
just, it just, yeah, it's 10 songs. It was too much, but look, what Triple Crown provided us at the time is we were up and coming. And up and coming mean we were still new. We were making our way through New York. We had this at that time. What helped us a lot too with Triple Crown and some other labels that were looking at us was the split CD we did with Voice of Reason on Stillborn because of Jamie.
Right, right.
So yeah, that really helped us. Jamie's really, and I'm going to credit Jamie from Hatebreed because with Stillborn Records, he's the one. He got us a weekend when React came out. He got us a weekend with Ignite. We did Coney Island High. We did like we did all these different places. He did that, not Triple Crown, honestly. And he got us like press and all this stuff. So as we were building our name a little over here, he was helping with that, just with the stuff he was doing. And obviously, he was Jamie from Hatebreed at that time. That's 1998,
Yeah,
prime
yeah.
Satisfaction coming out,
Right.
them blowing up and being everything.
I have never heard a bad
So
word about that man, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he didn't
he's
have
like,
to do anything that he did for us. He really did. Like, we show up to, so we go to play Connecticut. We're playing Connecticut. We show up, and Jay's like, yo, go down the road from one of the, I think it was Hanover House in Connecticut. He's like, go down the road. He's like, to our record store. He's like, Jamie printed up 150 shirts for you guys. I'm like, what? So I'm like, dude,
sick.
it was like the nicest thing. So he's like, he's legit for real, like in terms of helping. So that helped us with Triple Crown. So in retrospect, Triple Crown, it gave us it put us, I remember, in like major record stores. I remember being on vacation in like Arizona, and like like the record was there. Like, like back in the day, you would go to like a Sam Goody or one of these record
Yep.
stores, and they would have like a
FYE,
listening
whatever.
station with like the headphones, and you could listen. And React was there. So, so that part was good because it got out. We'd play out of state, and some people would have heard it already because of that. So long-winded, story there, but that's really how, that's how Triple Crown came about. We were just 19-year-old, honestly naive kids that
Yeah.
signing contracts, like, we're just like, everything we did prior to that was just almost like a handshake deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't know we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. It was so funny. Like we were just like, yeah, sounds good to me. And yeah, he had it had this distribution was really good. Wasn't a lot of like tour support, and stuff like that. But for what it was, it helped. But I mean, again, like, you're talking about a bunch of fucking kids basically, right? Rich was like I think 16 at the time. He couldn't even sign it
Yeah, he
because
Right.
it
wasn't allowed
wasn't
to sign
legally
the
bearing,
contract.
So like it was kind of funny, it's just like it's like a funny footnote, But
You know what, too, I'll bring up with it, like part of being naive was I thought at 19, okay, we're signing with Triple Crown. Like, okay, we'll get opportunities to do this tour, do that tour. And we were ready to do all that. And we were able to do weekends. We did a lot of cool stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I was a little disappointed, but also naive to the fact, thinking that that's what was going to happen. And it was almost like, not that he didn't want to be bothered with that, but he didn't really, it was like, it's like he put his album out. And I don't know, for like almost like a tax write-off or something, but like that's really what it was. Like that's really what
Well, that's what I'm
like.
saying. Like
So
by you guys getting signed, like, did he like did he own your masters? Did he like what was I don't. It's
no,
just
because I
like
think it's after. What's good about it was, he's a stand-up guy. So Fred, he is. So what I reached out to him. We put React on Spotify. I'm going to say 2019, and I reached out to him I ended up getting his number somehow. And I reached out to him and I said, look, I asked if he could do it. And he was honest with me. He's like, look, it's not worth it for me to put it out. He's like, he's like, he does like indie rock bands. So like
Right.
Overthrow and like, yeah, like Mushmouth, like all those like Voice of Reason and like No Redeeming. And he like all that stuff.
Yeah,
He doesn't even look at that stuff anymore.
Brand New was
So
on Triple Crown. weren't
brand
they?
new too. Yeah, they were on too.
Yeah,
So
it's
like to
wild.
him, it's like that stuff is, he's doing all this other indie rock and all that kind of stuff, and that's what he's doing now. So I said, okay, I want to put it out. We will put it out then, because we go through TuneCore, which is like an easy platform to do it. So he's like, that's fine. I'm like, so I had him email me just that confirming everything was good, that we can do that with the record and all that kind of stuff, because I did know we wanted to eventually put React out on vinyl because people were asking, and it was something that we never got to do. So yeah, it's our
Oh,
stuff,
well,
and
that's cool.
it's ours. Everything's ours, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just
Credit
know
to
some
him.
horror stories. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and credit to him. He was really, really, really cool with everything.
That's what's
Yeah,
up.
I mean, it's funny. I think it was on your show, Shutdown. There, I think the rights of the songs got bought by Victory, and then that got bought by
Yeah.
Universal. And if I remember,
Yeah.
like he was like, they went back to Universal, and they were basically like, "Fuck off," So I mean,
Yeah,
for
what the
what
fuck
it's
is
worth,
that?
it's bullshit. Yeah, because what are they really gonna do? Is Universal gonna put out the fucking
Fuck no,
shutdowns?
they're just hanging
It's
on
such
to it.
bullshit. It's such bull. It's just it's so credit to Fred, man. Like he was like he was down to earth enough to be like, yo, man, do your thing with it. Here
Yeah,
you go,
that's
take
cool.
it. And it just felt good to have it back.
For sure.
Like and that's what I like about this time around. We own everything. I mean, shit, man. We self-funded this, and it was a fucking heavy lift. I'll be honest with you. This wasn't easy. The whole process was a fucking grind. I mean, and we put in the work for this album. I mean, we put in the work. We fucking paid for it. I drove over fucking two bridges every like Wednesday night, coming from Jersey, jamming and rehearsing, writing until like fucking 11:30, coming back home at like 1:30, waking up, going to work at 6. We did that for like a year, and I would do that maybe every third week or so, every 2 or 3 weeks. So, but I mean, and just all the more, like it just feels good with all that effort we put in that, we own, our songs, we own our old
Yeah,
songs,
fucking
and
A.
so we kind of control our destiny, which is kind of cool. Anytime you're with a label, I think it could be an awesome thing if you find the right partnership, but there's also something to be said to have that complete freedom like we do, I mean, we don't have to
Mm.
answer anybody, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, we don't have to answer to anybody either.
Right?
It's like is what it is.
Yeah. Right
Yeah.
on.
That's why we were able to take a 3-month break.
Yeah, yep. No
Yeah.
advertisers
We're not
or
on
like
contract.
contracts. Yep.
Yeah.
Before we get to what's your Clubber Lang shirt that you got?
Oh
I just
yeah,
noticed
so
that.
it's just one of those like Boonshot shirts. It's Clubber Lang Jim. So
Okay,
that's so funny.
yeah.
Yeah,
I seen
Just a
that when
Clubber Lang.
he put like his
saw
chest
Clubber?
up, and I was like,
Clever.
does that say
Yeah,
Clubber
it's Clubber.
Lang?
It's Clubber Lang. Yeah.
That's dope.
Real man. Oh, I love that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Triple Crown thing's cool. So from baby vomit and tax write-offs came
Yeah.
to fruition a record
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah, this is fucking.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to talk a little bit about your podcast because
Sure.
I had seen it come up a few different times, and sometimes I'm good with Instagram, and sometimes I'm not because I run the record store, and the podcast, and sometimes shit blends together, and then usually I'm good about answering messages, and sometimes I'm horrible. But I remember we were talking to Jay from Bayway about having him back on. And then I seen that he did your podcast, and I was like, oh shit, I've seen this before. And I was like, wait, we're already following it. And then when I got an email, and I was like, oh, that's the dude from the one podcast. And then I sent the stuff over to Jeremy. But how you've just started that like kind of recently, right?
Yeah, I started it in January this year, January 2025, and we were talking about it before we came on here, and I kind of like ran with it and ran hard with it. So I was dropping an episode literally once a week. I did that up until literally the J-Way episode that came out in September.
Mhm.
Now I'm doing like 2 or 3 episodes a month probably. I'm gonna slow it down a little. Not in any other way, just slow it down. Like it's just like right now with work, kids, all like stuff going on. The band's kind of moving, the band's kind of is taking a little more clearly taking a precedent over it. So it's like I still love doing it. It's fun. I recorded one last night. I have a bunch coming up into the new year, and it's just fun. Like you guys do it. It's like it's fun talking music. I'm gonna like I love what you guys do. Like you just don't interview bands. You guys have some other things where you talk about different topics. Like I think you were even talking about like hip hop, like a bunch of like hip hop. I,
Oh,
I
for sure.
I like that you guys do that. So I'm gonna have something where in a couple of weeks I'm gonna have a couple of Anthony Race and Mike Masilli from Long Island. We're gonna have a Long Island hardcore discussion. I'm gonna have Jay Reason on. We're gonna do a couple things about maybe talk Connecticut with some other people from Connecticut. So I want to like kind of expand it a little bit with it, but it's really fun. It's really fun. I just had Tommy from Silent Majority's episode came out. It came out today, so whenever this comes out, but it just came out. And it's just fun talking. It's like old friends I'm talking to, but connecting with a lot of the new bands. And it's great. Like I also, you have promoters on, record labels on, and just hearing people's process. I just enjoy hearing it.
Yeah, fucking A, man. Like I just like you guys. I like meeting people and hearing like how you guys got
Right.
to where you got, like your influences, the music.
And
And-
sometimes like we'll have somebody on and we'll be like, oh, I don't think this will be anything crazy,
That
and then you
fucking
hear like
shock.
some of the wildest stories from people.
Yeah.
It's true.
And it's cool
That's absolutely
because
true.
like it'll be like the people you least expect will be like, oh yeah, like I used to work with like we had Daniel from Riding Easy Records on. He owns the record label. They put out bands like Monolord and like all the Brown Acid compilations and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And he was like, oh yeah, I worked with Rick Rubin at American Recordings in like the
wild.
early
It's
90s.
crazy.
And I'm like, holy
Yeah.
shit, like I didn't know that. Like that's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's cool hearing people's stories and yeah, it's fun. It's fun doing it. And it's fun. I got a bunch coming up, like coming up that I'm looking forward to also into the new year. And so I'm set. I'm set basically until February. I didn't record them yet, but I'm set like until February. Because I also feel where now it's like I'm taking the pressure off myself where I don't feel like I have to put one out every week. Like I could do it every other week. I could do it. I could do three. I could do three in a month. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be every week.
Yeah, that's the beauty, man. Whenever you
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just having creative fun with it all. Like
That's it.
Like you said, you like the episodes that we're not interviewing people, and I appreciate that because we'll have like a long list written out of like, okay, we could do this or this or this. We already might have done something in this realm. Okay, this one would be fun. Let's do this, and then we'll run with that.
Yeah, we got
And then-
like a million topics. It
yeah,
feels
we
like.
just I think of an idea, Jeremy thinks of an idea, we write it down. Sometimes that idea might sit for a year before we come back to it, but it's fun
You'll get
to just
there.
kind of mess
Yeah.
around and
Yeah.
do whatever we want with it. And,
Like one
like-
of you two did it just recently. I don't know. It could have been just recently. It was like a reel, I think, of like top 10 new albums out now. It was like it was different. It was cool. I liked it. Like
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
that was-
and
that
it was
was
and it
me.
was quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good. So like that's what I'm gonna try and get into that kind of different stuff and get to it and yeah, it should be good. It's cool now too. Like you guys, you have people reaching out to you guys too, and it's like people are like as we're talking. Actually, I got a DM. Something came up about someone coming on. So it's fun. It's fun. There's something though, and I don't know if you guys feel this way still, but it's like you land a band right that you really like. Well, like there's something just super exciting about it. Like it's just it's like an awesome feeling. So so it's like until that feeling I have like I don't feel that kind of way anymore. Like I'll know when to call it quits with it, but
Yeah,
there's no reason.
I
It's just
think you'll
fun.
kind of
It's just
always have
Yeah,
that because
dude.
like we both
Yeah.
have like the big like unreachable people that we like are like, oh, this is a dream list interview.
yeah.
And we might send emails to them or try to get in touch with them like once a year, twice a year, whatever. If it happens, cool. It probably won't happen because I see like some of these people on like the world's like biggest podcasts and stuff, and I'm like, but you never know. Like they could reach out and be
You're
like,
right.
yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. But then we have like bands that Jeremy might find or I might find, and we'll reach out to them, meet cool people that like support the show more than some of even our own friends do.
Fucking A, dude.
And we've met a lot of cool
Yeah.
people through that. And then like one thing that I really like and that I didn't think about like when we got into it was we have there must be a mailing list somewhere, but we have like so many like agents and like PR people that reach out that are like, here's all this stuff upcoming. Here you can use these 2 songs on your podcast. You can check these out. Here's our early demo. Or like sometimes I'll just get a package at the record store that's like you guys' podcast. Here's some stickers, or here's a record, or shit like that. Like that's like, to me, that's cooler than like everybody wants to like get to the point where they're like making money off like their videos and stuff, but getting like the free merch and like the stickers and the records and CDs and just like being able to talk with people, or even like getting invited to a show or that sort of thing, like that to me is like cooler than the money would be.
I agree.
The money would be cool, but like
very cool, right? But you're right about that stuff. It's really all it's awesome, and that bands want to come on yours, like yours guys specifically. I'm talking about, but
yeah,
it's fun, and it's like you said something too. It's like reaching out. It's like back in the '90s, I would ask for things like a show or this or that, but like I'll use the podcast for example. Like I don't care. I'll ask like, what's the worst that can happen? You're gonna say no, you can't come on, or you don't answer me. At least I know I tried. And relatively speaking, everybody that I've reached out to has been pretty awesome in a response, or if they can do it or can't do it. So it's been pretty good. But that's what I've learned is just go for it. Ask. Who cares? What's the worst that could happen? They say no, but at least you tried.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think we've had anybody that was like, fuck you, we're not doing it.
Yeah, imagine, yeah.
Like, I mean,
sometimes like, I don't want you on.
Sometimes I wish somebody would do that, so we're not like, damn, did he see the message or not? Do I send another one? Like,
yeah, I've just been ignored, but never like never even a no. They just wouldn't look at it.
Yeah, or they leave
that.
you on read, and you're like, shit. Like,
yeah,
like they were the ones that like doesn't even surprise me. Like I'd be like shocked if they're actually using their own.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like they got a social media manager and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
When you guys emailed, do you guys have like a PR person or somebody?
So
or was that one of you or one of the other guys in the band?
Yeah. So Instagram, I'm like every social media, I'm on it. I'm the one doing all that. We did go with the stuff like Anthony said, like this album we did self-fund, and we were like, what, we put a lot of time and effort into it. There's so much we can do. Look, the reality is we made the album, and I mean, it's like really was for us. We always wanted to write a follow up to React. We did it, but like we put a lot of time and effort, and it took such a long time to do it. We're like, let's again, same thing as the same attitude I have with the podcast of like you call and ask, like just kind of the same thing here with the album is like we wanted people to hear it and just put it out there. If people think, they think about, right? So we connected with Jay from Jay Reason, Static Era, who again friend of mine for a long time. We were talking. He said you should use like Wordless is really good. They know the music. She knows the music. Alexa's great. She can help get out there to stuff, different avenues, and obviously certain things that we couldn't. There's a lot I can get to. There's a lot I can't get to.
Right.
And I had Frank from Somerset Thrower on my podcast, and they used them for their new album. He's also in Victory Garden, Frank. And somebody else too I spoke to was through the podcast. I forgot who. She was like highly recommended. So sent the stuff to her. We had a meet. We met with them. We talked to them. And that was it. And when she rolled out like a 3-month plan leading up into the album, she's given us ideas for things to do, like reels that we're putting together, like that we're creating that I wouldn't have done if she didn't tell me to do it, when to drop them, when to put them out, what to put on them. And then we adjusted and do it ourselves. So she's been helping us with stuff, connected us with you guys, like, so it's like, like we gave her a list of podcasts and places like, look, this is what we're looking for. And like, I will say like you guys were to me on the top of the list because, I like I said before, love what you guys are doing. So she's been great,
Sure.
Great helping us and awesome with doing it. And it's been good with them. It's been great with them in terms of rolling out the album with them.
Yeah, it was a nice like compliment, and to kind of our own efforts, right? Because I mean, we put so much fucking work into this album. I mean, just the logistics and coordinating everything and self-funding it. We're like, hey, if we can get a little bit of help, somebody can kind of, complement what we do. And we do a lot on our own to try and get it out there. We Tribute actually landed on Faction Punk on Sirius
Oh
Radio
shit.
like 2 weeks ago, and it's been in like regular rotation. Like I track it. They play it like fucking like 4 times a day. And we did that on our own with through like we were able to get in front of someone to hear it. And no, ultimately they got to hear it and be like, yeah, it's a match. But like stuff like little things like that, and I do a lot of like guerrilla marketing just to get it out to wherever I can, because we just put so much fucking effort into it. We were just like, yeah, I don't know if we're ever gonna have this opportunity again. I mean, this was an end cap to a previous album 25 years ago, and I'd like to say, shit, man, there'll be another one and we'll keep going, but I'm treating this like it's our fucking last hurrah. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I also, I've mentioned it before. I got some pretty fucking major hearing issues in my right ear. Like I could come out of a show and the ringing in my ear could go up and not go down, and that's it. I'm done. So every show we play, every time I jam, I'm just super, super. There's just nothing but gratitude, man. And so that kind of ties in because we were just like, fuck it, man. I don't know. I never thought I would be able to do this, especially with the ear shit I have, and so to be able to do it, I'm treating it all like it's that's it. This could be the last time we ever do. I want people to hear it. I don't care how, I don't care what we do. So to that end, working with a small PR company or, well, I'm sure I mean, we're a small project to her. But it was helpful. It just kind of takes a little bit of the weight off. We're all super busy too. There's a lot of stuff we just can't get to. I mean, so it worked. Worked well.
Oh, it's a
At least
fucking
you're
it's a fight though to get your shit heard. Like you gotta have somebody fighting for
Fuck
you
yeah.
on this shit,
Yeah.
dude. It's crazy.
Yeah.
yeah, to have
There's a
somebody
lot of
like
noise out
sift
there.
through all the
Fuck yeah,
stuff.
dude.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's
man.
we're not always the best at self promotion because sometimes
I'm
I'm
fucking
like,
horrible
man,
at
I
it.
don't want to like throw my face out in everybody's feed all day, every day, like, because eventually they're like, get this fucking guy off of here. Um, but you have to like you gotta like
Yeah.
spam reels and like keep up with the posts and stuff like that, and it's like
Yeah.
it's like a whole other. That's another hat that's important to wear, like in music and podcasting.
Yeah.
Anything like running a business, all that stuff. Like you have to be able to do all of that.
Yeah.
But with your hearing
Yeah.
issues, it's a good thing that you're not the sound engineer or something, at least. So at
Yeah.
least you got that going for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's a big difference too. The amount of noise out there with bands, which is a good thing. But like back in the day, you had to fucking go to a show, like buy a physical media and tell your friend about it, and then he would have to go to a show and buy it. Unless you were lucky enough to be in a fucking record, like, national distribution, so it was all word of mouth and stuff. And so you knew the bands in your area because you went out and you had to fucking see them. You had to buy their something at a show. Now you just fucking any band writes a song and it's up in the air for anybody to see, which is awesome. First of all, because you could get your stuff out there and available, but it's also a lot of fucking noise. There's a lot of bands out there. So if you really want to make some headway, first of all, you got to be fucking good at what you do, and you got to push it a little bit further. So it's interesting. The times have really changed in terms of how you get your music out there. It's like a world of difference.
Well, what you guys like? Congratulations on getting that shit on Faction. But we were
Yeah.
talking not that long ago, and dude, I can't even remember the last time I listened to like radio, satellite radio, anything like that.
Yeah.
Not only is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
just because, like like what we're into, but or
it's because I don't like being controlled by the
the
man.
radio,
Yeah.
it's just it's a different how people get their music nowadays. You know what I mean? Vastly
It
from when
is.
we were younger. So
Well, a lot of
I like
people
what
used
you
to
were
pick
saying.
up shirts a lot too. Like they'd be like, "Oh, cool, that's what you got a 100 Demons shirt on. I never
Yeah.
heard that band.
yeah,
I'll
and
check
then
it out."
right,
Right.
or like the dude,
Yeah. Like you hear, like,
whoever the
to
guy
that
singing
point.
what his shirt's
Like,
wearing.
yeah,
you're
like yeah, or you see
Jamie
him on an
Jost, a
album
Sworn
cover.
Enemy,
Yeah,
That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was no, it's you hear it to that point, like when Blink 182 had I forgot what video, but like when they were like they are still huge, but when they were like like they had an H2O shirt or an H2O sticker on their guitar, I forgot what it was. And Toby talks about, you hear him on his podcast, how like what that did for them,
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
That Travis or whoever was wearing a Blink 182 shirt in a video, an H2O shirt, how it blew them up and stuff like that. So it's definitely a different time, but I think it helps us who we are. Like look what we were talking about, where we're at right now. Like look what we were talking about prior. Like if this was their late 90s, look, we're not playing every weekend like we used to. We're going to
No,
definitely
for
pick it up in
sure.
2026. There's a lot coming, but the album, how would have people heard it? Without streaming
Absolutely.
platforms, they
Absolutely.
wouldn't have heard
Yeah.
That's a
it.
great point. Yeah.
So it's like we played. So like we played last year. We played with E-Town Concrete and Gridiron at AMH,
Oh, that's what's
and
up.
we put Anywhere But Here and The Calling Out as singles. That's how long this has been in the making. Like 2024, we put it out, and so we played the show. We never played the Calling live before, and that people knew it. Like
Oh, that's cool.
knew the song because that's directly, obviously, because of streaming platforms. It wasn't because of any physical copies that they bought.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
Mhm.
I want to circle back on one thing before we start to wrap stuff up. But before I do that, Jeremy, do you have anything prior to me asking this question? Because I don't think we got to it earlier.
No, I did. I just I didn't really have any questions. I was just
Okay.
fucking.
So earlier you
Bullshit.
guys had mentioned that you had re-recorded a song. It was React, I believe.
Yeah.
And you said
Yeah.
you were going to say why, but I don't think you said why because we started talking about other stuff. So what was the story there of
Thanks
why
for yeah.
you
I meant to, so
re-recorded it?
we recorded React, and I'll credit Anthony. He felt that, and we all, after we're talking about it, that song fit with what we were doing now. Like, and it was almost like handing the torch over to like React was handing it over to Setting the Price, right? But another reason why is after we recorded React, like if you listen to React on the React album and then you listen to React on Setting the Price, React on Setting the Price blows away React on React album. And after so Steve, we have a second guitarist. Steve joined the band while we were recording React. So after React came out, we would play it live. You hear the enhancements you hear the enhancements on Setting the Price just of having the second guitarist, because it's not just obviously rhythm based. Anthony can't do two things at once, right? And
Right.
especially when we're live. But when we were playing React, we changed the ending up, but due to Steve, because Steve added, I don't know if harmonies over, but whatever he did, it made it sound heavier. So we liked the way the ending was so much better. And we even said back in the 90s, we're like, we're going to re-record this someday. And we took time, took 25, 26 years later, but we did. And React just, we feel fits the album, but it's also just so much better than it is on the original.
Yeah, definitely,
Wild.
definitely. By the way, just another just footnote on this album. There are several riffs that were written like 20 years ago that are on Set in the Price that we had. It's kind of like it's kind of like your fucking house explodes and the band is over and you're just picking up stuff. All right, this was good, this was good. And so that to me is one of the coolest parts of it is that there are like multiple breakdowns. I'm talking outside of that song React that we wrote like literally over 2 decades ago that were like kind of on deck for us to write back then that we just picked up like it was nothing and just got right back into it. I mean, there's at least
That
four or
makes a
five
good
riffs that
segue right into fucking picking it right
yeah,
where you left off. Then.
absolutely. Yeah, in fact, Steve, that breakdown and tribute, like he wrote that for a song that we were looking to write like 20 years ago. So, his fingerprints are on that song from like 20 years ago, so and that is like that's one of the rare instances, right, where like, you know, we got some of his original writing back then, that and React onto this new album. So it was really it's really cool. It's just like a really cool continuation. You really can connect the dots to it. It's kind of neat.
No, definitely. I'm glad we got the story behind it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm glad I remembered.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, if you guys have watched other episodes, you know this question. So before we get to the last question, do you have anything that you would like to add or feel free to plug your podcast or anything like that. For listeners, I will have links to everything in the description for the episode, for the Overthrow Instagram, for your podcast Instagram. Anything else that you guys want in there, feel free to send to me and I will put it in there.
Awesome. Yeah, I guess check out my podcast, What Lies Ahead. But more importantly, before you do that, check out the new album, Setting the Price. It's on all streaming platforms. And we have a lot coming up in 2026. We're playing Long Island with Shia Luden, This Is Hell. That's going to be great at AMH. I think the show's actually almost sold out, which is kind of cool. And then a lot coming, like I was saying, in 2026 with Shutdown. We're doing a bunch of dates. We're doing dates with God's Eyes, and then some other stuff leading into the summer that we're still. But it's just crazy to like go into the summer, but like that's where it is now, certain terms of doing that. So just be on the lookout for that. Definitely want to hit the Midwest. Like that's the thing with this is just, and I said this on another podcast, like is opportunity. Like like we want to just take advantage of this, and like we don't know how long this is going to go. We have no idea, and just take advantage of whatever's presented to us and just have fun with it.
That's all you can do, dude.
Awesome.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably just say Chris Fasulu, East Coast Recordings. I just, take a quick minute. He's the guy that produced the album and he did a fucking tremendous job. The part of the reason why we're able to kind of really realize that vision of like what Overthrow really, this is like a matured version of Overthrow in terms of like having a lead guitar and just our sound progression. And he had a big to do with that. So, it's East Coast Recordings. Want to give him a plug. And his name's Chris Fasulu. Outside of that, that's about it. Yeah, just check out the LP. Definitely want to send out just a shout to Jay Kramer's his family. Jay Kramer was a former drummer we had that passed away. Nina, Chloe, his whole family. Definitely just send some love out there for them. And yeah, we're looking to get out there and really start getting into the grind of playing and stuff. So, just looking forward to what's coming. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so at the end of every episode, we always ask this, and it's been a while since we've asked this. I just thought about that. Outside of the genre of music that you guys play, what is something that you listen to that people would not expect you to listen to? You can take it as a guilty pleasure thing. We don't often think of it as a guilty pleasure, but like if you're an ABBA fan secretly or not secretly, like we want to know about that shit.
Yeah. I have a lot of stuff that ranges. I don't know if it's like I like 90s rock, like I like Collective Soul. I love Bittersweet Symphony from The Verve is one of like my favorite songs of all time. I love that song. I like radio music. I like Mammoth. I think what he like what Wolfgang Van Halen does is cool.
Kid?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's really good. Deftones isn't really a stray. I'm listening to the new Deftones album. I like a lot. I love it. And then honestly, like I throw on Taylor Swift sometimes. I don't think she's bad. So
see, that's the
some
shit.
songs here and there.
The shit we're looking
so that
for
might,
right there.
Yeah, I might. You might click off and
just edit that out.
Just edit that out completely. But I listen to a lot of everything, and I like hip hop and stuff like that. But I kind of like it's like all over the map of kind of things that I listen to. Hardcore is my go-to metal, but it's not all the time. Like I'm listening to a lot of different music.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess for me.
And I'm sorry, I love the Beatles. Beatles are a big a big band. I don't know if that's a surprise, but Beatles are like a big one for me too.
Yeah. Shit, man. I listen to a lot, but the range what I listen to is all over the fucking place. Like I listen to a lot of old school country, like Ricky Skaggs. I listen to like Willie Nelson. I listen to Jerry Reed. I'll listen to fuck, man. I'll get down with some yacht rock. I don't give a fuck. Hall & Oates, motherfucker. But honestly though, like I just saw. I went to. They're actually from Chicago. I just went with my wife to see this. They're kind of like an electronic, totally off the fucking wall. They're like an electronic, like I don't know what you would consider them. Kind of like a synth, like electronic group, Pixel Grip from Chicago.
Pistol
just
Grip?
randomly came across them. What's up? Oh,
Pixel Grip or Pistol Grip?
A Pixel Grip.
Pixel Grip.
Yeah, when I say totally different, they're just an electronic, like They're fucking really good. I mean, it's
Huh.
just funny. Like, I just kind of came across them and I saw they were coming around, and this fucking woman put on the greatest, one of the fucking greatest performances. And it was in front of like small place, maybe about like 125 people.
Perfect.
And she is just such the front woman. She's just such a good fucking performer. I mean, and that is way off the reservation, but yeah, man, she was great. I mean, I saw recently, I went to like Outlaw Fest around here. That was like Willie Nelson, like Bob Dylan. Willie Nelson is fucking, for a guy that's like, I don't even know. The guy is probably like close to
He's
100. I
like
mean, was it
he's a
95?
fucking
I don't even know.
vampire,
Yeah,
dude.
dude,
He's
I
like
can't.
Dude,
Yeah.
140 years old.
let me tell
I
you
think
that
he's
that
92
guy,
or 93 or something like
he
that.
sounds fucking great. Like, he sounds fucking
That's
incredible.
awesome.
I mean, he was really good. And I saw Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is interesting. Like, I started kind of fucking around with him, listening to him a couple years ago, and I started really like him. And his show is everything that people told me it was going to be. He doesn't give a fuck. He's not going to play what you want to hear. Like, you don't, I couldn't even recognize, like, we got 45 minutes through the show. This guy next to me is like, I didn't recognize one fucking song he played. And he actually played Along the Watchtower, but he changed it so much into like kind of really bluesy type song. And nobody fucking even
It's
realized
just
it. He's
fucking.
hilarious. And he won't put his
Oh
image
shit.
on the jump. So like, if you're sitting in the back, usually you could see a big screen. He doesn't do any of that shit. Like, he doesn't want to be on the screen. So like, it was interesting. I mean, it was okay. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, he was different. I mean, I'll stick with him fucking, I'll stick to listening to him on streaming. I mean, live, he was okay. But yeah, before that, I mean, that's, my big guilty pleasure is fucking Blink 182. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
They're great.
They're just a
Yeah.
fun
I
band.
like
I don't
Blink
know.
182,
I just
dude.
Not a
love,
huge
to
fan.
see them. I don't care. But yeah, that's probably my list right there.
Bowling for Soup too. I like them.
They're
Yeah,
good. Mhm.
Yeah. But I and the Bob Dylan thing, I could see, like, for the amount of time that he's been playing shows and doing this, like, at that age, I would be also on the same page of, like, I don't
Yeah,
want
I
to play
heard
this
he's been
fucking
doing
song
that since the
anymore. Like,
'90s. Like,
yeah.
just like that, like doesn't give a fuck, and like,
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't
you
know.
can't blame the guy. Like,
no,
you don't want to listen to Tangled Up in or play Tangled Up in Blue like for 70 years consecutively. Like, it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just would be rough to. So,
Yeah.
but that's cool that he just kind of does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But all right, guys, we'll let you get going here, and we appreciate your time and we appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, man,
It's
it's
been
great meeting
awesome
you guys.
chatting with you. Thanks for sending
well.
us the album in advance. We've had it for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that, and yeah, it was definitely cool talking with you. We will be in touch on Instagram when I get closer to releasing this. I just got to edit a little bit, and then I'll chop up some reels and stuff, and we'll get it out there. And I'll invite you guys on as a collaborator on the Overthrow page. And yeah, anytime, like you mentioned that you wanted to start doing video on your podcast and stuff. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out.
I will, definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna need all the help I can get when I do that stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely, though.
It's not too bad, but
Mhm.
but yeah, anything I can help out with, feel free to reach out.
Much appreciated.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was great. Appreciate being on here.
Yeah, man. You guys have a good night. All right.
All
You
right.
too. Take care.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.